I took the job to host this show, I never thought I'd get so wrapped up in my work. Bruno, you can let me go now. Bruno! Bruno! If he falls on me, I'm gonna kill him.
Tom Terrific and the living legend, Tom Seaver and Bruno Sammartino. What in the heck do they have in common, Mike? Welcome back into the Vintage Composer. This is a special edition of Storytime. It's a bit of a mixed bag where I'm going to tell you a few stories that connect baseball and baseball memorabilia and collectibles to previous themes on my channel. And the first one being wrestling and baseball. I showed you this book, New York Mets 25th anniversary, and all the autographs I received in it over the years. And the last time that I met Tom Seaver and got his autograph, which was in this book, he was appearing and I'm waiting in line with the thousands of other people, and I'm going through to make sure, it's at the right page, get the right thing open so there's no delay to get the autograph. And I open up the front cover, and inside is this little insert that I pulled out of a old wrestling magazine. I guess it was Pro Wrestling Illustrated or something. And it's got a picture from that TV taping of Bruno and Tom. I'll show a full screen and I'll read you the caption as you're looking at it. In 1979, Bruno Sammartino was the subject of the Greatest Sports Legends TV series hosted by Tom Seaver. The living legend's second WWF World title reign had ended 2 years earlier, but he hadn't slowed down. Now, I totally forgot that I had this in the book, and of course it's Tom Seaver, who I'm about to meet. And instead of being, one of the countless people who sit there and go, I like watching you pitch for the Mets in 1975, I'll give him a good in. I got something to talk to him about. So he signs my book. That's how Mets fans talk around here, by the way. He's signing my book, and I tell him, Mr. Seaver, I found this picture of you and Bruno. You remember this? And I show it to him, and he takes it, and he is just mesmerized by this photo for about a good 2 full minutes. Think about that, 2 minutes. And he's just staring at it. And he's like, oh, what a great guy he was, Bruno. I remember this. He was such a strong guy. And he's showing to the girl, the agent next to him who's counting the tickets. And he's like, look at that. He's like, oh, what a great guy, what a great guy. And he goes, oh man, he told me he could have broken my arm if he wanted to, but he wasn't going to. But he said, I believed him. He goes, I believe him. And I go, you look like you're doing pretty good for yourself. He goes, yeah, we're just horsing around. But he goes, oh, what a great guy. And he couldn't stop staring at it. And the girl next to him goes, Bruno was from Pittsburgh, and she goes, we're doing a signing in Pittsburgh in a couple of months, and Bruno's going to be there. And he's like, please tell him I said hello. Will you please tell him? And he was so thankful for her to tell him. And he's like, oh, thank you for showing this to me. And I go, you can have it if you want. He goes, no, that's fine. But he was totally into it. So I'll share a link to the video, which is a pretty compressed file on Dailymotion, about 45-minute program. I'll put that in the description below, as well as another video that I found. Those of you who are rock and roll fans, you hopefully watched my concert ticket stubs a couple months ago, and I mentioned a few times I went to go see Rush in concert, the great power trio from Canada. And you might know that Geddy Lee, the bass player, frontman, singer, is a huge baseball fan, huge stat nerd, into the I was going to say rotisserie baseball, fantasy baseball. Shows you how old I am. He did a show, That Metal Show on VH1. He talks about the fantasy baseball and how much he loved it. But he's appeared at the World Series and the All-Star Game singing "O Canada" when the Blue Jays were a big deal in the early 90s. He's also a big historian and collector of memorabilia, including Negro League memorabilia. And he has had an extensive collection of autographed baseballs, equipment, and the like, and he donated a huge portion of it to the Negro League Museum in Kansas City. And in the video I'm going to share with you below, one of the curators talks about getting that donation and not knowing who Geddy Lee or Rush were, but is a big fan of them now. So it's a cute little rock and roll story with baseball. And finally, I had a video response for Ticket Leprechaun Jake a couple months back, and I shared a autograph I picked up of Stephen King, the great author. And Stephen King has a connection, not just to baseball, being a huge Red Sox fan, but he's got a connection to my Robin Yount PC. How does that work? In 1990, Stephen King published a book called 4 Past Midnight, which had 4 short stories included. And in the opening, the foreword to the book, he mentions this story about how people have different perceptions of time and how old something is and how far back your memory goes. And he used an example of watching his Red Sox play the Brewers in 1989. Robin Yount, in the middle of his second MVP season, And he happened to use Robin as an example of a veteran, and the announcer saying, Robin started all the way back in 1974. He's a grizzled veteran. And King's like, well, I started in 1974 too. I'm not a grizzled veteran. We still have a lot to give in our professions. So it's just a short story about how he and Robin had been around for a while, and some people think from 1974 to 1989 was a long time, ages ago. And it's just a fun little thing. You can download that on any ebook preview. Check that out. So, part 6 of Robin Yount PCs coming up next week. Periodicals, media guides, programs, Beckett, price guides, and the like. You're going to enjoy that. Before we move on to the next section of this video, I have to make a correction, and it's a bit embarrassing. I by no means am a history major, and I'm going to prove it right now. In last year's series of Saturday Evening Post covers, episode 2 actually, I showed a cover from June of 1941 in which I erroneously said that that magazine, that issue, had come out just after Pearl Harbor. Well, we all know that Pearl Harbor happened in December of 1941, and I must have been thinking of June being D-Day, but that was 1944, so, you know, dunce cap on my head. So, just want to correct that for posterity. Let's look at some cards. And the first card to show isn't a card at all, but a complete card set, and it's factory sealed, and I got the proof about 15 years or so ago. I picked up a 1987 Topps factory set case, 16 complete sealed sets, sitting in my basement weighing a ton, tons of junk wax that I already had a set built of. And I said, what should I do with this? So I called up Steve at Baseball Card Exchange and I said, hey, you want to make a trade? And he worked with me and wound up sending him the ton of 87 cards for this 82 Topps traded set. I think he won the shipping war there. This has got the old yellow tape. It's also factory sealed. And how do I know? This is for Brandon at Brandon's Baseball Cards. Here it is. Like Willy Wonka, I pulled the golden ticket, the gold Baseball Card Exchange business card from when they were in Linwood, Illinois. And how far they've come. It's actually printed in ink here. Someone just wrote factory sealed. Doesn't say the set or the year. You just take it for granted. So this is in a very well wrapped package. Don't know what the Ripken looks like. Don't care. Not going to open it. So don't know how old this is based on the old address and the gold card. But there you go, Brandon. I know you were looking forward to seeing one. Yes, they do exist. At the local card shop, in which he may or may not be going out of business. It's a great marketing ploy if he's not, because he's making a ton of money. I found these two photos of the All-Star squads from the 1982 All-Star game in Montreal. And look at all these great stars and legends and Hall of Famers. Got two great Dodgers sitting next to one another. Dave Concepcion was the MVP of that game. And just look at the talent there. And then there's the AL squad featuring honorary captain Carl Yastrzemski, the great Dan Quisenberry, young-looking Ken Herbick. There's a couple of great Yankee legends, Yogi and Billy Martin. I felt like those were two good pictures to pick up. And also while I was there, picked up a couple of starter sets. Vintage Oddball, David M. starting one. He's almost done, I think. Check out his Bangers series. And I know Joey H44 is also starting this set, 64 Giants. I'm not going to go through all of them. You've seen their videos, I'm sure. Got a little more than half of them here. The only major star that's missing is Mickey Mantle. But they're so crisp. The pictures are beautiful. The borders are sharp, white, crisp. You can read the backs. Great looking array of players, whether they're Hall of Famers or not. So picked up those. Get to finishing that at some point in time. And another one, Jake Ticket Leprechaun has got this, as does Dave at Blue Jackets 66, a 68 Topps game. I'm missing the Mickey Mantle, of course. Missing just 3 cards in this set. And these are beautiful. Beautiful pictures. Fun new way to show the players. Some great names too. Frank Howard, Dickie Allen. Remember Gene Alley of the Bucks? And your stars of the day, Rod Carew, Pete Rose, Joe Torre. So that's something I'm going to hold on to and finish up at one point. And in terms of cards, some random stuff here. This action-packed Jim Plunkett from 1990. Jim Plunkett, the only eligible quarterback to win multiple Super Bowls that isn't in the Hall of Fame yet. He needs to get in. But this is a reliefed set, the action-packed. And Jim Plunkett's parents, both his parents had varying degrees of blindness. They were legally blind. And the back of this card is actually written in Braille. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on the picture. But it says, Raiders win Super Bowl 15, Jim Plunkett named MVP. So that was a neat little way to honor him. I always wanted to get that, so I found it. Picked up one more card for my 1971 Topps Master set, Sparky high number, or semi-high number. So I'm down to just 2.5 cards. I need 2 more high numbers, and I want to pick up another example of a checklist variation, so that's the half. And the 71 set soon to be complete. I got kind of bullied into getting this card. 75 mini of Lefty Carlton, and I'm glad I did. Because my friend Brian, Topps Vintage 316, sent me the full-size Topps card. Brian has sent me, in the last year, 5 of the 10 Steve Carlton base Topps cards from the 70s. So thanks so much, Brian. They're going to look good together in the binder. I also found this oddball from my Robin Yount collection, 1985 Fleer sticker. Just happens to have his uniform number 19 on the front. And speaking of Robin Yount and Brian at Topps 316, Brian, I haven't opened this yet. He sent me this package. I know they're Robin Younts, he told me, but I don't know what they are. Early 90s coin. Let's get him in the light there. They didn't take off these oddballs, but I like them. You can fit them in 9 pocket pages, and they're fine. And I see a Nova, no, a Star Stellar. Wow. You know, I've never seen this card. The 1990 Star Company. And this is the Stellar version. This is the promo. Wow. Thank you. Oh, it's so neat. And he also sent me a Millennium promo. I don't know how you found them, but thank you. Sports Flicks, Team Leaders. Got a little bit of some kind of 3D Sport Flick action on that. And 88 Topps UK. And it's the matte version, which I need. I have so many glossy versions. And now I have the plain feel to it, no gloss. Thank you, Brian. Greg over at Tiger727 made a trade with me on Trading Card Database. A couple of them, actually. These are a couple cards that he sent me from my other PCs, Ricky Trammell and a Mike Schmidt. There's others, which I'm going to show in other PCs, like Randy Johnson, I think he sent me. So I will get to those in a future video. Thank you for that, Greg. And finally, Mr. Scott, Mr. Reindeer Studios, sent me this in the mail. Clean up my junk in the back. I was a lucky recipient, so I increase my iris a touch, of Scott's contest win for his 1178-32 Z formation / right in a 24th and a half century contest, in which he selected my idea of Telly Savalas, Kojak. I was afraid I was going to get this in the mail. It was going to be a big pile of just filings from his charcoal pencil on the bottom, but he packaged it super safe. Got here one piece with no bends, no wrinkles, no erase marks. Love the detail, love the shading. He's such a great artist. Signed it on the bottom. Thanks, Scott. Digging around here, I found some random pieces that don't quite fit in to what I'm doing with my collection. First, I have 15 TTM cards, ranging from the mid-70s to early 90s junk wax. There's some decent players in here like John Olerud, Darrell Evans, Jeff Reardon. There's a Don Zimmer. They're all signed TTM, so again, we can't guarantee the actual authenticity of each one. For you TTMers, autograph buffs, junk wax fans, there's 15 here. And I also have a DVD of the Jackie Robinson story, the film starring the legend himself, along with Ruby Dee. Came out in 1950. And inside the case, there's another DVD of a program called A Man Called Maze, which was a TV documentary which first aired on NBC in 1963. So I'll leave you all with this quick quiz. How well do you know your baseball Hall of Famers? You sure? Here's a rare photo featuring 4 inductees. The first person that can identify all 4 in the comments section below can have the pile of TTMs and the 2 DVDs I just showed. Good luck, I'll talk to you soon.